The Quebec Nordiques franchise existed through 7 seasons in the World Hockey Association, followed by 16 seasons in the National Hockey League before moving to Colorado and becoming the Avalanche in 1995. Many of the game's all-time great players wore the Nordiques blue and white, but 10 stood out among them all. The criteria for these selections was the players judged only on his play with the Nordiques. In addition, NHL starts are weighted slightly more heavily than records from the WHA. Now, on to the 10 greatest Quebec Nordiques. Left wing Anton Stosny played 9 seasons with the Nordiques from 1980 until 1989. He was the first player born and trained in Slovakia to be drafted by an NHL team. Anton defected to North America along with brother Peter in 1980, followed a year later by brother Marion. Anton played 650 NHL games as a Nordique, scoring 252 goals, adding 384 assists for 636 points. A model of consistency, he scored at least 25 goals in 8 consecutive seasons. His best season came in 1982-83 when he amassed 92 points. Perhaps Anton's most memorable game came on February 22, 1981, when he and brother Peter both recorded 8-point nights in an 11-7 win over the Washington Capitals. Goalie Dan Bouchard was a standout for the Nordiques in the early NHL days of the franchise. From 1972 to 1980, Bouchard adeptly backstopped the Flames in Atlanta and Calgary. But when he asked to be traded in 1980, he was told no one wanted him due to his temperamental nature. So on his own, Bouchard picked up the phone and called Quebec, then the worst team in the league with just 1 win in his first 15 games. He worked out a deal on his own and posted a 15-5 win-loss record and a solid 3.18 goals against average as the Nordiques gained their first NHL playoff berth. The following season was a magical one for Bouchard and Quebec as they disposed of the Montreal Canadiens, their most bitter rival, and then the Boston Bruins in a pair of thrilling playoff series. Each went down to the wire. In the final game, but Quebec held on to win with Bouchard providing outstanding goaltending. Dan Bouchard concluded his Nordiques career with a 107-80-36 record and a 3.59 goals against average in 226 games. A native of Padoue, Quebec, Serge Bernier jumped to the hometown Quebec Nordiques in 1973 after 3 NHL seasons in Philadelphia and LA. Bernier quickly established himself as one of the WHA's premier players with a 37-goal, 86-point 1973-74 season, followed by a monster 54-goal, 68-assist 74-75 campaign, which earned him second-team All-Star honors. His apex in the WHA was the 1977 postseason, as he was named playoff MVP with 14 goals, 22 assists, and 36 points in just 17 games as the Nordiques captured their only league championship. The Big Center was the WHA's 5th all-time leading scorer with 566 points in 417 games, and he earned a reputation as a clutch player with 74 points in 49 playoff games. Bernier returned to the NHL with the Nordiques in 1979-80, but he was beset with serious injuries and retired after 2 partial and unproductive seasons in the senior circuit. Best known as one of the most agitating players in NHL history, Dale Hunter was another astute Nordiques pick in the 1979 NHL draft, in which the Nordiques also drafted Michel Goulet and Anton Stosny. In his 7 seasons with the Nordiques, only once did Hunter's penalty minute total fall below 200 in the season, and that's because he played only 46 games that 86-87 season due to injury. When he wasn't stirring up trouble, Hunter was a skilled playmaker who was often paired with left wing Michel Goulet. In 528 games with Quebec, Hunter compiled 458 points. Dale Hunter was a superior defensive player, face-off specialist, and offensive spark plug. He was the ultimate team player who would do just about anything to win. In 1987, Hunter was traded to the Washington Capitals on a multiplayer deal, and the Nordiques sorely missed his leadership. However, they did get a draft pick back for Dale, the 15th choice in the 1987 NHL draft, and that pick turned out to be another player who's upcoming on our list. Slick defenseman Jean-Claude Tremblay spent 13 seasons with the Montreal Canadiens and was part of 5 Stanley Cup winning teams while being named to 7 NHL All-Star teams. So when he jumped to the Quebec Nordiques of the fledgling World Hockey Association in 1972, it put the new franchise on the map. The man they called JC Superstar went on to play 7 WHA seasons, scoring 424 points in 454 games, and is the greatest defenseman in Nordiques franchise history. In 1972-73, JC left no doubt he was the WHA's premier blue liner by scoring 89 points, including a league-high 75 assists. He was a league all-star for 4 consecutive seasons and was twice voted as the WHA's top defenseman. JC slowed considerably over his last 2 WHA seasons and retired at the age of 40, never having played an NHL game with the Nordiques. Nonetheless, he was the first Quebec Nordique to have his number retired when the team joined the NHL in 1979. A quick skater with dazzling offensive skills, right wing Real Buddy Cloutier was a perfect fit for the wide-open WHA. After a 26-goal season as an 18-year-old rookie in 1974-75, Cloutier rattled off consecutive seasons of 60, 66, 56, and 75 goals to finish as the WHA's third all-time leading scorer with 283 markers in just 369 WHA games. In the Nordiques 77 Avco Cup championship season, Cloutier collected 14 goals in 17 postseason games. The Saint-Emile, Quebec native was twice the WHA's leading scorer in 1976-77 and in 1978-79. Cloutier showed signs of his WHA magic upon the Nordiques' arrival in the NHL in 1979, but he was hampered by a series of injuries. In 1979-80, he scored 42 goals in just 67 games. He had 97 points in a 1981-82 season that was again limited to just 67 games. Cloutier's poor defensive play and often indifferent attitude spelled the end of his Nordiques career, and he was shipped to the Buffalo Sabres after the 1982-83 season. During his NHL years in Quebec, he recorded 284 points in 236 games. Left wing Marc Tardif was the WHA's all-time leading scorer with 316 goals in just 446 games. He spent the first year and a half in the Rebel League with the LA Sharks and Michigan Stags organization. But when he came home to Quebec midway through the 74-75 season, the Nordiques immediately became a WHA powerhouse, and Tardif was the league's most prolific scorer. Tardif's signature season was in 75-76 when he collected 71 goals and 77 assists for 148 points and was named WHA MVP. The following season, he helped lead the Nordiques to the WHA's ultimate prize, the Avco Cup. In 1977-78, the Granby, Quebec native earned his 3rd consecutive first-team All-Star nod and his 2nd MVP honor, while leading the lead in goals with 65, assists with 89, and points at 154. Tardif's scoring was less impressive upon his return to the NHL with the Nordiques in the 1979 expansion. But he scored a solid 116 goals in 272 games and played at the 1982 NHL All-Star Game. He concluded his 14-year career after the 82-83 season, and his number 8 was retired by the Nordiques the following year. Joe Sakic was a bright light for the Nordiques when the team's on-ice product crashed and burned in the late 1980s and early 1990s. He was drafted in the first round, 15th overall in the 1987 draft, with a pick acquired from the Washington Capitals in the Dale Hunter trade. In 508 career games with the Nordiques, Sakic recorded 626 points with 234 goals and 392 assists. During his 7 seasons in Quebec, Sakic exceeded the 100-point plateau 3 times and had a pair of 48-goal campaigns. Sakic's wrist shot is considered to be one of the best in NHL history, and at a young age, he established himself for his leadership skills. He was named Nordiques team captain in 1992-93 and was the last player to wear the captain's C in Quebec. In the abbreviated 1994 lockout season, Sakic finished fourth in league scoring with 62 points in 47 games, helping to revitalize the Nordiques en route to a division title. The franchise would move to Colorado the following season. It was there that Sakic would cement his legacy as one of the NHL's all-time greats. In fact, he was voted as one of the NHL's top 100 all-time players in 2017. On June 26, 2012, Sakic was selected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Now, before we get to our top 2 all-time Quebec Nordiques, here are 4 Nordique legends who fell just outside our top 10 list. Matt Sundin was the Nordiques' first overall selection in the 1989 draft, and he'd spend the first 4 years of his Hall of Fame career in Quebec. In 324 games, Sundin totaled 334 points, with his most prolific season coming in 1992-93 when he recorded 47 goals, 67 assists, and 114 points. Two-time Stanley Cup champion Réjean Houle jumped to Quebec for the Montreal Canadiens in 1973-74, and he developed into one of the WHA's top two-way forwards with seasons of 27, 40, and 51 goals before returning to Montreal after the 75-76 season. Réjean Houle is a rarity in the WHA, and especially among the Nordiques, as a forward who's adept at both ends of the ice. Goaltender Richard Brodeur joined J.C. Tremblay as the only players who played all 7 WHA seasons in Quebec. His statistics were pedestrian, as he allowed an average of 3.64 goals per game in 305 WHA contests. But Brodeur often faced a barrage of shots behind a crew of offense-only forwards and a mediocre lot of defensemen. Brodeur improved throughout his WHA tenure and finished his stay in Quebec as a second-team WHA All-Star in 1978-79. One of the most underrated players in WHA history, center Christian Boudreau, was traded to the Nordiques by the Winnipeg Jets midway through the 74-75 season. In 1975-76, he was placed between right-wing Réal Cloutier and left-wing Marc Tardif to form one of hockey's most potent trios. A slick playmaker and opportunistic goal scorer, Boudreau scored 109 points that year and followed that with 107 points in 1976-77. Injuries sidelined Boudreau for much of the next 2 seasons, but he concluded his Nordiques career with an impressive 312 points in just 242 games. The Nordiques' first ever NHL draft pick, Michel Goulet, ended up as the steal of the loaded 1979 NHL draft at 19th overall. In hindsight, Goulet's selection was a little low, but he had gone to court after the 1978-79 season and won a court order that said he could not be forced to enter the NHL from the WHA unless his contract was first offered to the Nordiques. All other teams shied away from drafting Goulet due to this court order. The Parabanca Quebec native spent 11 of his Hall of Fame seasons in Quebec and ended up as the franchise's second all-time leading scorer with 945 points. He was also second in assists at 489 and first in goals scored with 456. Upon joining the Nordiques, he steadily rose up the scoring ranks with seasons of 22, 32, and 42 goals before going on a tear with seasons of 57, 56, 55, 53, 49, and 48 goals, often playing in a line with Dale Hunter. During this torrid stretch, he was named an NHL first-team All-Star left wing 3 times and a second-team All-Star twice. His number 16 was retired by the Nordiques in 1995, and Goulet was selected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1998 alongside the number 1 all-time Quebec Nordique.
Hunter, Perpétuel, il s'en va seul! Seul avec Liout! Goal!
In 1980, Czechoslovakia Player of the Year Peter Stosny and his brother Anton defected to Canada to play with the Quebec Nordiques. This represented a watershed moment in professional ice hockey as they were the first 2 major stars of the Eastern Bloc to defect to North America since Vaclav Nedemensky in 1974. Peter left no doubt that he was a premier NHL center with 7 100-plus point seasons in his first 8 NHL campaigns. Classified as a rookie in 1980, the 24-year-old center won the Calder Trophy as the NHL Rookie of the Year. Stosny ended up as the second highest scorer of the 1980s after Wayne Gretzky. He's the Nordiques' all-time franchise leader with 1,048 points in 737 games wearing the blue and white. In 1981-82, he had his most productive season as he racked up 46 goals and 93 assists for 139 points. That was also the season his brother Marion defected to the West, and the brothers Stosny often played in the same line. Peter Stosny ranked number 56 on the Hockey News list of the 100 greatest hockey players, the highest-ranking Slovak-trained player or Czech-trained player in a 1998 poll. The same year, he was elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Peter Stosny ranks 34th all-time in NHL points, and is second overall for players born in Slovakia. Stosny's number 26 was retired by the Nordiques in 1995. So that's our countdown of the top 10 Quebec Nordiques of all time. Do you agree with our list? Let us know how you'd rank the all-time great Quebec Nordiques. And let us know what team you'd like to see featured next in our top 10 all-time player lists.